share it.
Hold
too.
on.
Or you can do it for her on my phone.
Now it is broadcasting live on Facebook. And now it is recording on the computer. So let's do this. It's
Well, here we go. I was given this opportunity by Professor Donovan to come on the air and talk about a subject that's very near and dear to my heart, which is addiction. And if you can't tell right now, I am more nervous than a prize turkey in November. I've got my wife in here and Sean kind of showing me the ropes. So I'm excited about this opportunity. It's something that I believe that we need to be more open about and help people get the help that they need. And so we're going to talk about on different shows. We'll have phone calls in, and we'll have comments and guests. We're going to have guests, maybe owners of recovery facilities, maybe addicts themselves. But we're gonna have fun. But it is definitely going to be a serious topic because, as probably most everyone knows, in this day and age, someone that is struggling with addictions to something. So I guess I'll start out by saying, some people believe that that addiction is a choice, and that's the opposite of what I believe. I believe it definitely is a choice to first try drugs or alcohol, but I have yet to meet someone that is addicted to drugs or alcohol or pornography or what it be. That said when they were younger, if asked the question, "What would you like to be in your career? What would you like to do?" I don't think I've heard one person say, "I want to be a drug addict, or an alcoholic, or I want to be allergic to pornography, or not allergic, but addicted." So I guess since it's the first show, I'm gonna talk about. I got a sign that says "just keep breathing," but I'm going to talk about where I came from and what my background is to get to have a show on 100.3 at Dixie State College or University. I found myself after 25 years in active addiction to drugs and alcohol at the age of 39 years old. I found myself looking at my 7-year-old son, and we had been living in a hotel room for about 9 days. We were pretty much homeless. We had a few bags of clothing. His mom was also an addict, and so I looked at that little boy and I decided he needed a chance. Some kids never get a chance, but so one day, April 11th, 2013, I made a phone call to my parents, to whom I had only talked to a couple of times a year when I needed money. I said, "Dad, I need your help." My father drove all the way from St. George, Utah to Ogden, and picked my son and I up. And from that day, I've been sober ever since. It wasn't by a lot of work, a lot of struggles, a lot of help from good people that I consider angels in this world, living angels. So I came down here, and lo and behold, I didn't talk to my parents often, like I said, so I found out that the day I got here they was missionaries in a 12-step program, and I had never heard of that, and they asked me the day I got here, they said, "You want to go with us to our meeting?" And I said, "I'll try anything." And so we had my brother watch my son, and we headed over to the meeting. And from that day, I found there was hope. I found that there was other people that felt the same way that I did, that had the same feelings that I was alone and no one understood me, and it's an indescribable feeling, but it's I got hope, and after 25 years of not even caring if I lived or died, I finally, for my son was my why, but I ended up starting to love myself. So for the first 30 days of my recovery, I maybe slept 1 hour a day. Awful feeling. But I would wake up or I would not even wake up. I'd go jogging at 3 in the morning in some place I had never been, and but these times I look back now and I realize that was finding my spiritual way. My son and I ended up getting our own little 2-bedroom place, and I got a job at a gas station, and I didn't make a lot of money, but I was humble enough to say I'll make some money, and I don't need to be the boss at this time. I just need to, I spent 25 years creating habits and behaviors, and so it was going to take more than 1 month or 2 months to figure out this thing called life. So for the first 2 years, it was just me raising my son, and he's my lifesaver for sure. But I think that was the best thing that I could have possibly done is to be by myself, getting to know myself, getting to really know who I was and look deep inside myself, and to start to love myself, and then I could love someone else maybe. That was my mindset. I was doing things a different way in life, different than I'd ever done. The reason why it took 2 years, though, it wasn't by choice. I was very lonely. I would oftentimes drop my son off to some friends, and I would go back home, and I would pray to my God. I would pray out loud, yelling, angry, that I can't do this. This isn't comfortable. This isn't normal for me. And then I'd ask for help, and sure enough, I'd get some sleep, and I'd be awake the next day, and I'd be sober. And I went to 6 meetings a week, and that's how I knew I made it through that day sober. So there's many wonderful programs out there. I'll explain those later. But so it took me 2 years to get divorced from my son's mother. We could not find her. She was somewhere up in the Ogden, Salt Lake area, and had no address. And so I filed motion after motion with the judge. I put it in the newspaper, and it took 2 years, but I finally got an email saying, we're done. You got your divorce and custody of your boy. And this was a very big, wonderful time. And around that time, just 2 months before, interesting enough, my wife had moved into my neighborhood. My wife now had moved into my neighborhood. He was sitting across from me, keeping me smiling and breathing. But she had moved into the neighborhood, and we had talked, but no dating, no nothing, no even thought of it. And then I could finally date, and so she came over the night before Thanksgiving and said, we're making pumpkin pies. And I said, okay. And we made pumpkin pies, and we've been together ever since, every day ever since. And after 51 days, we got married. And then we followed our religious beliefs, and we're sealed in the temple to our 2 boys, and we have a different life now, and we live a different way. And that'll lead me to... so here we are, 5 years, 2 months, and a few days, maybe a week or something into my recovery, and I now am a trusted person. I now have people that trust me, that if I say I'm going to be there at 2 p.m., they know that Heston's going to be there probably at 1:55 or 1:50. So I follow through with what I say I'm going to do, and that's a different behavior than what I had done for so long. I'm new to this, so like I said, I'm nervous. But I'm going to breathe. But so now I'm trusted. I built up my credit. I got married to a wonderful woman, and I am a good dad, and I do what I say, and I actually listen to my children instead of tell them to get away. And like I said, I'm now at a point where I can help others. My wife and I ended up serving a 2-year mission for the church that we are a part of, and it was wonderful. We got to serve those that are struggling with addictions. We got to help them find their way and help give them direction like we was so freely given. We got to spend, I did 3.5 years out at Purgatory Correctional Facilities where we helped the female inmates, and what a joy that was to be a part of something that such a life-changing experience, to see them go from very thin to gaining weight, and to see them from frowning and not wanting to talk, and a week and 2 weeks and 5 weeks and 2 months would go by, and they're finally smiling and laughing, and they were committed to this time when they get on the outs, so they're not going to use. And I'm still friends with many of them to this day, and I'm so proud of them. So my background, I have a good background in addiction recovery, in addiction itself, and so does my wife. She was also an addict, and actually lost a daughter that we pray every day that we'll be able to meet one day, but we know it was by our own choices that we suffer consequences now to this day. And in the right time, we'll be able to have her be a part of our lives. So that's a little bit about Heston. Heston's a recovering drug addict, and it was hard to say for a long time. I have been an open book from day one of my story, and it's given me many opportunities to serve others and to help others. And like I tell people all the time, if you make it in recovery, in addiction recovery, you're going to have many opportunities to help others. And this is just one way to give back now, is doing this radio show. And we're going to do it for a little while. We're going to do a few episodes. Who knows what will come of it, but we're going to be serious. We're going to have fun, and we're going to enjoy it. Everyone knows the heartbreaks of addiction, how it tears families apart, and it's bigger than an epidemic. It's real, and it's another life out there than the life I live now. And I tell people all the time, you guys are so blessed to have the lives that you have, because there's another world out there that is very scary, that's full of drama and full of chaos, and a lot of people suffering out there that need help, and you know what, they're worth it. Don't give up on your family members. Don't give them another try. Give them another shot. You know, there's a fine line between enabling. You can't do that, and we'll get into those topics later also. But you can love them. And you can let them know that you love them. But I am living proof that there's hope, and I have many friends that are living proof that there's hope. Percentage-wise, it's not a huge percent that succeed, but it is possible. I can attest to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to, I guess I'm going to talk about, I've had many friends, good friends, roommates. One roommate for 4 years, I grew up with him from before elementary school, who overdosed in Florida on heroin. I had another friend that I don't know the details of it, but I can guarantee you addiction came into the part of him jumping off a building to his death. I've had one girl that we helped out at the prison who hung herself just a week after we had been to the prison, but out there they closed the what's it called, when people get to come in, they close the programs down for the month of December because they don't have the coverage of through the holidays of people on the work. So it was very sad because I'd never seen her doing better. So I'm sure a lot of you have had many devastating things happen in your lives, and I've had many friends pass away to drugs and alcohol. But that said, I've had many friends make it and succeed in alcohol and drug recovery. And so, like I said, just love your loved ones because you never know if they're going to be here. Step one today is kind of where I'm going with this. Maybe the first few episodes we'll go over the 12 steps that helped me to save my life. So step one was in the AA program. As addicts, we tend to exaggerate reality, which is in essence lying. We're good liars. We become professional liars. I always tell people that I was a lying liar hole. That's my description of how I was, and I would lie even when I didn't have to lie. I would, the truth, but if you had asked me, I was the most honest person in the world, and how dare you question me? But step one in the AA program is as addicts, we tend to, we're going to a different spot. I'll catch up here. I'm trying to shoot from the hip and follow my, okay. Admit, step one is in the AA program. Sorry, and all these programs help people. So I'm not. Some people it's not going to be the way it works for me. It is my position and my beliefs that spirituality in some sort or another needs to be your way in recovery. It's the only way, whether it be God, whether it be a higher power, whether it be going outdoors and finding your spirituality in the woods, whatever it be for that person. That is the thing that they can give their problems to, and to not have to feel like they're doing it on their own. And it's amazing, but it's definitely a necessity to recovery. But step one in the AA program is we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. And the addiction recovery program I went to was the LDS addiction recovery program, and they bought the program from AA, and they adapted into their spiritual beliefs what they would have it to say, and the step one in that program is admit that you of yourselves are powerless to overcome your addictions, and that your life has become unmanageable. And the key word for that step is honesty, and that's step one. Is honesty. Something that as addicts we need to learn how to be honest, and it goes so much as to say, as many of us would say, I only drank 3 beers, but in reality they drank 7 or 8. I caught a 5-pound fish. In reality, it was a 3-pound fish. So we had to become aware of the lies that is a definite behavioral and habit forming I don't know the word for it now, but it is definitely step one is honesty and to be honest with yourself first of all, and to be honest with others. Start telling the truth, and then even more important is when we lie, because we all lie, we catch it and we recognize it and we call ourselves on it. I would find myself and I would say, you know what, so-and-so, to whoever it would be, I just told a mistruth and I'm going to make it right. And I really didn't need to say it that way, but it was 2.1 pounds, not 2.5 pounds. And I got very, very exact in my truth. And I still am to this day. And there's a step that says, when wrong, promptly admit it. And we'll get into that one, but honesty is a big one. And for family members out there with a loved one that's suffering, it's very important for you to find out what their problems are. And so I want to recommend that you would get to an Al-Anon program, or the LDS Church has a 12-step family support group. And it's nightly, and you can go and you can realize you can be with other people that have family members struggling, and you can learn how to not enable. You can learn how to love them from a distance. You can learn how to care for them, and in the overall thing, you can end up actually helping them instead of helping them stay an addict. But another thing is excuses. We need to be very careful of what our excuses are. When this happens, I'm going to quit alcohol. Tomorrow, I'm going to quit drugs. If I get this job, I'm going to quit. There's a very scary line. And also denial is a line that many people say, I only drink alcohol. I only watch a little bit of pornography. I only do marijuana. But that is probably the I'm not an addict is what they're saying, and that's probably the scariest person out there that is on a downhill spiral is the person that is comparing their drug of choice to others. And I'm not as bad as this guy because he does heroin. I'm not as bad as this guy because not only does the heroin, but he shoots it up. But we need to not compare our disease, and we need to look at ourselves and stop saying, I know how you can be better in life. Start saying, how can I be better in life? And turn that and make that no excuses. No sense in making excuses anymore. It's time to never use again, and that's got to be the mindset. Like I said, this has been just a scary experience for me, and I'm nervous, but I feel like I have a purpose. I have been called to help others in addiction recovery. I get to go and speak at rehab facilities. I've been offered to go speak at high schools. I've been offered to go speak to youth, which is my favorite, because the only way to know you're an addict is to never try drugs or not. And so when I can get to the youth, that is my point. So they would never try it again. They would never try it. And that is the best way to abstain from ever knowing if you're an addict or not. But we thank you for your time, and we thank you for your support. And please, any questions you have, comment on the Facebook or comment, and we'll have calls in and we'll answer your questions. And once again, thank you for your support. And I thank Sean Donovan for this opportunity, and look forward to many more episodes or shows. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.